Good evening, sir. I am Priya. Our topic is web-based visualizer for structural representation on the C programs. Contents: Introduction, System Workflow, Sample C program and Lexical Analysis, Abstract Syntax Tree and Control Flow Graph, Data Flow Graph, Code Property Graph and the Automata Theory. Conclusion. Introduction. Internal representation of the source code, and it converts the text-based code into the structured forms. It helps to compilers understands the program's logic and enables the syntax and semantic analysis. It will supports the program optimization techniques, assists it debugging and error detection, used in the AI-driven code analysis and the software engineering tools. And we will use the source code and compiler. This is the abstract syntax tree and the control flow graph and data flow graph and the code property graph. Next, system workflow. Lexical analysis. It breaks the source code into the meaningful tokens such as keywords, identifiers and the operators. AST. It is the abstract syntax tree. It represents the hierarchical synthetic structure of a program. CFG, it is the control flow graph. It shows the possible execution paths and the control flow of a program. DFG, that is the data flow graph. It illustrates how the data moves and depends between the program operations. CFG, that is the code property graph, and it combines the AST, CFG and the DFT into a unified graph for the comprehensive code analysis. Next, sample C program and the lexical analysis. That is the token table, and these are the lexems and the token type. Hint, that is the keyword, and the A, it is identifier. Equal, that is the operator, and phi, that is the constant number. Explain the tokens. It is the smallest meaningful units of a program. Example, int a is equal to the 5. Regular expression, that are the patterns used to identify the tokens. Example 0 to 9, it matches the numbers. DFA, that is the deterministic finite automaton. It states the machine used to recognize the valid tokens and processes the code character by character. That is the display sample of the C program. We will use the hash include stdio.h and int main function, and we give the input like int a is equal to 5 and b10, and int c, that is the we have to do the sum operations. Next, we printf percentage d comma c, that is print the c, that is a plus b. Next, abstract syntax tree. Parsing process. It converts the tokens into a structured syntax tree and checks the whether the code follows the language grammar rules. Syntax rules hierarchically. It shows the parent-child relationship between the program elements. Operators and operands are organized according to the precedence. Tree representation of the code. It represents the code in the hierarchical tree format and makes the program structure easier for compilers to analyze. Control flow graph. Execution paths. CFG shows the all possible paths a program can follow during the execution, and each node represents the statement or block of the code. Decision making. Conditional statements, if else which. These are the conditional statements we have to use to create the branches in the graph, and different conditions lead to the different execution paths. Program flows. It illustrates the order in which the statements are executed and helps to analyze the loops, branches and the control structures. Next, the data flow graph. Data dependencies, that is shows how the data values are created and used in the program. The variable depends on the values that contribute to it. And variable relationship, it illustrates connections between variables and operations. Example, that is C depends on the A and B through the plus operation. information flow. It tracks how the data moves from the input values to the output statements, and it helps to identify the data usage and dependencies. Code property graph and the automata theory. Formula, that is the CFG equals to the AST plus CFG plus and DFG. And code property graph. It combines the syntax, control flow and the data flow information into a single graph and provides a complete representation of the program behavior. Widely used in the code analysis and the vulnerability detection and AI based program understanding. Representation and the automata concept. Tokens we have to represents in the DFA and parsing tree PDA. Syntax rules in the context free grammar and the computation in the Turing machine. The last conclusion, it AST represents the program structure and CFG represents the execution flow. DFG represents the data dependencies and the CPG represents the all representation, essential for the modern compilers, security tools and the AI systems visualize. And modern infographic summarizing AST plus CFG plus DFG equals to the CPG, AI and software engineering icons. Thank you.